So,
Alright, and thus we start.
as
Alright, we're
soon
talking
as you
about the
start,
rogue, obviously. It's right here. The man who goes to your house and steals your wife's purity and stabs you to death with a spoon when you're not looking. Exactly what everybody wants. And then he takes your wallet, too. Because that's
spoon
just what they do.
specifically,
Very specifically a spoon.
is it just to insult you?
Yes.
You're not even tough enough to get stabbed by a spoon and
In
survive.
fact, if you're in the right place, it was Yigomor's soup spoon. That's a Skyrim reference for anyone who doesn't know. That's what makes it even more hilarious. Either way, skill and precision. Rogues devote as much effort to mastering the use of a variety of skills as they do to perfecting their combat abilities, giving them a broad expertise that few other characters can match. Most rogues focus on stealth and deception, while others refine the skills that help them in dungeon environments, such as climbing, finding, and disarming traps, and opening locks. When it comes to combat, rogues prioritize cunning over brute strength. A rogue would rather make one precise strike, placing exactly where the attack will hurt the target the most, than wear out an opponent with a barrage of attacks. Rogues have an almost supernatural knack for avoiding danger and learn a few magical tricks to supplement their abilities. Shady living. Every town and city has its share of rogues. Most of them live to the worst stereotypes of the class, making a living as burglars, assassins, cutthroats, and con artists. Often these scoundrels are organized into thieves guilds or crime families. Plain rogues operate independently, but even they sometimes recruit apprentices to help them in their scams and heists. A few rogues make a honest living as locksmiths, investigators, or exterminators, which can be a dangerous job in the world where dire rats and were-rats haunt the sewers. As murderers, rogues fall on both sides of the laws. Some are hardened criminals who decide to seek their fortune in treasure hoards, while others take up a life of adventure to escape the law. Some have learned and perfected their skills with the explicit purpose of infiltrating ancient ruins and hidden crypts in search of treasure. Basically, you're affecting the greed of that person.
And this man will outsmart you, outskill you, and then steal your shit while you're upset.
He'll jump out the window with your wife while she's making sweet love to him, and all in your face. But let's not worry about that. We're gonna hop straight in. We'll hop straight into the class features. Starting at the hit points, they have the lowest of the ones we've looked at so far, starting at a D8. Which is still pretty good, but as said in the prior thing, they're more adept at dodging damage than taking it. Although with a D8, you can endure some hits.
Oh, a D8 can smack some goblins.
I mean, yes, but you know.
I use goblins because, dear God, I have killed so many.
You have also been messed up by goblins too. Because apparently, I
that was a hobgoblin, and he was near death.
Yeah, but you know, you still lost to 1 HP.
It keeps me up at night.
Good.
But let's continue.
Starting off at their proficiencies, they are only proficient in light armor. Because anything else heavier would kind of make it harder to sneak, you know? They are proficient in simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords. Don't really know why you're proficient in a long sword. That's kind of a strength weapon. But for the most part, they have proficiency in almost all the finesse weapons that they need, other than a longbow. Which, in this case, you would probably go like an elf just to get that, because, you know, elves are all the thieving bastards you would ever need to know about.
Racist, but true.
They automatically start off with proficiency in Thieves' Tool, which they also automatically get, which helps them disarm traps and unlock locks. They have proficiency in Dexterity and Intelligence saving throws, so they're better at dodging them fireballs that come in and preventing themselves from getting brain aneurysms when they're fighting mind flayers. But they're more likely to be succumbed to poison, they're less likely to stop being pushed back, and they're more likely to be charmed. Unless you're an elf, which you have advantage on that, so got him. And they don't have that thing in charisma, but some rogues have decent charisma scores, so it's not that bad. You also have one of the broadest choices of skill proficiencies they can choose. They can choose 4 at the start, being acrobatics, athletics, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, performance, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. Although, for the most part, you're probably automatically going to get stealth and sleight of hand, potentially followed by acrobatics, and then it's really up to you what you go with for the rest of them.
I mean, but Senpai, if we going stealth and sleight of hand, isn't that kind of going down the beaten path in the woods?
I mean, yes, you're supposed to be avoiding damage. How are you going to avoid damage if you can't, sneak past them? And how are you supposed to steal that coin purse if you don't have sleight of hand?
Athletics check.
For that thing, they don't have, because that's a strength check, and not dexterity.
Go on.
Going to their starting equipment, they can start off with either a rapier or a short sword, a short bow and a quiver of arrows, or another short sword, a burglar's pack, a dungeoneering pack, or a explorer pack, and they automatically come equipped with the leather armor, 2 daggers, and the thieves' tools, like I said. That all said and done, we'll come to their very first skill they get when you become a rogue. At the first level, you can choose 2 skill proficiencies. One of your skill proficiencies and the proficiency with thieves' tools. The proficiency bonus is doubled, so your starting 2 becomes a 4 for these specific abilities. And at 6th level, you gain 2 more expertise. So, as I've been talking with other people as of late, these guys are known as the skill monkeys, because they just get access to a lot, and further down the line, they have some skills that are kind of friggin' good, and make them really the good skill monkey. I mean, having in your stealth, if you have that 20 dexterity, you can get that +9 right off the bat, and that's kind of hard to beat. Unless you crit fail because you're a failure.
And Rogue is kind of, in my mind, Rogue is like a really go-to character when you want to try something different in the sense of, like, if you want your gameplay and character to be different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Personality-wise, skill set, there technically is, like, a more wide range of not just fighting, but, like, situation is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. So I'm definitely going to ignore the looking at this again at level 6, but just looking at the skill ability right now, you get 4 expertises. There's a feat, 2 if you're an elf or something, where you can get 2 additional ones. And I say having double proficiency in anything you're proficient in, it's really nice. It makes it much more likely for you to do the things you want. Mm-hmm. So I give it a nice 9 out of 10.
I'm gonna go with the same. Like, I can't see too many downsides with it. Yeah, but I don't think it's perfect. No downsides, but not perfect. That's what I'm gonna say.
You could always have more, but that's just the complainative side of people, myself included. Another thing you get at first level is known as the most used item of the rogue's inventory, the sneak attack. You know how to strike subtly and exploit a foe's distraction. Once per turn, you can deal extra damage of 1d6 to a creature you hit with an attack if you had advantage on the roll. The attack must use finesse or ranged weapon. Finesse. You don't need advantage on the roll if the target is within 5 feet of another person that is allied to you, provided that that person is not incapacitated and that you do not have disadvantage. The amount of the extra damage increases as you gain levels, maxing out at 10d6. You tend to get a extra d6 once every other level. So, 10 out of 10, because, having the opportunity to always add extra damage is nice. And provided you have a balanced party, you're almost always going to have someone in there right next to an enemy that you don't like, and you're just going to pew, and get those extra d6s. Plus, if you crit, you double those dice as well, making it even nastier.
I mean, I don't know. You said if you have an even up party, but what if you don't? What if you only have, like, two people, including yourself.
Well, I mean, there are other ways to build ways to use your sneak attack.
Mhm. And wouldn't the sneak attack only be like a one-shot thing unless you use like an entire turn trying to hide yourself?
Yes, but there is a ability at second level which takes away that debuff there, so to say. So,
Uh,
so there comes a bonus at second level, which is why I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Because if there was no other way for, because if you had to constantly waste your time and that, because even at 2, there's still ways for you to get to successfully use your sneak attack. So, so
I'm like I know there's probably going to be like a ton in the future, but just seeing like I know there's going to be a ton of abilities or perks that'll kind of help sneak attack, but
uh-huh.
just looking at it by itself, I like I know it's good, but I'm gonna give it a 7 just because I'm looking at it by itself.
Oh man, Hatter's gonna chew your asshole apart later.
I
I
know
mean,
he is,
I'm probably going to do it
but
too because you're insulting my sneak attack. But I get what you're saying. If you look
like
at it just as it is, it's not going to be as great.
like
But
like with this like if you're just starting D&D and you're trying to do this, it's just like, oh, I need my party with me to make this work easily, or I have to use a fucking turn to do this again. It just you see what I'm trying
I,
to point out?
I understand what you're saying. I understand that you don't play a lot of rogues and don't understand, but you are looking at exactly the skill right there. And even if the person was alone, I mean, for a good portion, sometimes that sneak attack is enough to kill very low level creatures outright. But I get what you're
Don't get me
saying.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. A I'm still giving it a solid 8.
Okay, you said 7
By
before.
did I say something?
You said 7. That's why it's
Oh yeah,
marked on the thing right there. You can see it,
God.
motherfucker. Don't lie to me.
No, I said 8 because I was thinking of it with I was
Oh,
thinking of it with the other fucking third level thing. Damn it.
so is that 7 or is that an 8?
That's that's a 7. I apologize. My memory is god awful.
So
Hatter says
I'm not really gonna go into the other thing. And yes, your memory is shit. I'm just gonna go ahead and mention thieves' cant. It's just a secret language of the thieves and whatnot. You're gonna see the little text pop up here. You can stop the video and look at it. It's just an extra language so you can communicate with the more of the underworld kind of thing. I'm not gonna rank that because that is a sheer roleplay thing,
okay.
and I'm just gonna kind of push it to the
In,
side.
instead of rating it, just say like or dislike.
I can like it. It's
Yeah.
the classic. It's the classic rogue thing that secret languages amongst thieves, secret symbols amongst thieves. There's even Skyrim has like the thieves guild, and all the buildings have the little markings saying either this place is dangerous, this place is safe. It's a classic thing which I can easily like.
Like, yeah, I'm easily gonna like it too because who doesn't like a fucking secret language with your friends? Well, like when you're fucking 6 years old and you're in class and you try and come up with a bullshit secret language with
Yeah,
your
I remember that.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah. So, was there anything else you wanted to say on that sneak attack before I interrupted you to kind of get that out of the way?
Um, by itself, solid 7. 7.
By itself, solid 7. All right. All right. Full judgment. All right. After that, we'll come to the very first thing at level 2, which is cunning action, which goes back into the sneak attack. Your quick thinking agility allows you to move and act quickly. You can take a bonus action on the end of each of your turns. Well, you can take a bonus action on each of your turns. The action can be used to dash, disengage, or to get that sneak attack, hide.
I see what you mean.
So usually all these are just mainstay actions, but now at level 2 for a rogue, they can be used as a bonus action. I kind of would have liked to have dodge in there because I feel like that's something they could have done. But I could also see why they wouldn't put it in there because, you know, you'd stab somebody, then you take the dodge action, then you stab them again, then you take the dodge action. But either way, you know, having those kind of things in there are really nice, and can't really add feats, so I can't really add that to the things here. But overall, being able to use some mainstay things like that as a bonus action, that's a solid 9 out of 10 for me. I only don't give it 10 just because I can't dodge as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9 too. Like you can't straight up be like Pikachu dodge and you jump out of the way, but it does give you a lot of opportunities. Well, like it gives you a bunch of chances to fix what you fucked up.
Alrighty, so we're not going to talk about the roguish archetypes because we don't just talk about the base class in these kind of videos, and we're not going to talk about ability score improvements other than that they get 6, which is usually higher than most people's 5, but lower than the fighter's 7. And then then they gain a new thing at level 5 called Uncanny Dodge. When an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use reaction to take half the damage. And that's not just a fire. That's not just a fired from a crossbow or sword. I believe that works on magical attacks too. So get hit with a firebolt, dodge it, kinda. You get a little sin. It burns off all your chest hair and makes you sad, and you only take half. You take half of it in psychic damage, and you know what?
Psychic damage, best damage.
But you know, I'll easily give Uncanny Dodge an 8 out of 10. I know I should probably give it more, but that's a loss of a reaction. Sure, I mean, if you're taking 100 damage and you cut that down to 50, that's pretty nice, but, you know, you could also get hit with, like, 4 damage and cut that down to, you know, 2, which isn't as impressive. And obviously, if you're at 1 health and you get hit with something that actually does 1 damage, you can't Uncanny Dodge and make 1-0. You're going to take that and get knocked out. Like, to a degree, I would almost like it to be the monks deflect missiles, which, if I remember correctly, is it's a D10 plus their level plus their proficiency, probably. It's either proficiency or dex, but I would like to see that on a rogue's thing for when they use Uncanny Dodge. Might be a little bit higher in strength, but if you think about it, that's basically the same thing that the monk does on ranged attacks.
Like, for me, I don't like, but I understand why it's a 5th level ability. And having damage, like later on, that is going to assist a shit ton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see much wrong with it, but I do see it could be better, but it's still pretty great. 8.
I'm gonna give it an 8. Alright. So, me, I'm probably just gonna give it the same thing and leave it an 8. Just because it's still good, don't get me wrong. But, you know, at the, like...
It could be better.
After this point, depending on what your race is, you could be doing other things with your reaction, like with Sentinel. I mean, it doesn't make sense necessarily on a rogue. But, you know, for a lot of things, a rogue could be moving a lot faster. If you're trying to catch somebody and you need to stop them, they can use it for things, you know? I mean, and if someone wants to complain about that choice, then they have to remember that they gave a kid a brain aneurysm in our last campaign. So, shut the fuck up, mate. Alright.
So, expertise.
This is the same thing from the 1 level, so we're just skipping past it because it's just the extra 2 things.
Oh shit.
So we already ranked that up further. But then we come
Evasion.
to Evasion at level 7. You can nimbly dodge out of the way of certain effects, such as a ancient red dragon's fiery breath or an ice storm spell. When you are subjected to an effect that lets you take a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage, you take none if you succeed on the throw, or only half if you fail. So,
So it's hold on, scroll back up.
scroll.
So it's just another uncanny dodge, but better.
It's an uncanny dodge that doesn't take a reaction, and oh yeah, it's definitely better because even if you fail, you still take half damage, and if you succeed, you take none. Now, don't get it wrong, there are things that are going to hit you that aren't based on the dexterity saving throw that is going to deal damage, and you can use your uncanny dodge on it. But at the end of the day, evasion is immediately just significantly better. Always taking half damage on any dexterity saving throw to reduce damage is perfect, and unlike some other classes who need to take a feat to mitigate it to zero, being
Like
able to consistently do it to zero just by succeeding, no reaction, no nothing else, flawless 10 out of 10.
I might give this a 10 as well because all this ability is doing is covering what uncanny dodge can't, and it does it better.
So, all them fireballs you can, and let's not forget that you have proficiency in dexterity saving throws as this class. So, as a rogue, you're going to have like 5 dexterity. I mean, the 20 dexterity off the bat, so you're going to have +5 automatically. Then you're going to get an additional +2, so you're going to have a 7 at low levels. And well, this is level 7. At level 7, you have +3 to your proficiency, so you're going to be getting an +8 to your dodge chance here.
Jiminy fucking Christmas. Yeah, I'm gonna give that a 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I kind of immediately threw that in there because I just automatically thought, but no, because you're dodging all these fireballs now, and even if you fail, you take half. You're dodging that dragon's breath. You're dodging the 9th level spell Meteor Storm, which does what I think it's like 20d6 of 2 different types of damage. Let me be unprofessional and look at it right now.
But no, it's just like I like how we just look at uncanny dodge and it's like, yeah, this is pretty good. It's kind of amp, but it's pretty good. And then we look at the next ability and it's just like you do what he can't.
Yeah, so the Meteor Swarm is 20d6 fire and 20d6 bludgeoning damage, which is a dex save. Which
20 d6s?
Yeah, 40d6 in total, which could max out at 240 damage.
Yeah.
Which could even put down a barbarian if he was not raging at that moment.
That just sounds
and having the guarantee that you're automatically gonna dodge half of that. I mean, sure, at 120 damage if it was maxed out, still probably going to knock you out, but it won't flat out kill you. But then at the same time, succeeding in automatically dodging every ounce of that, even though it's a fucking meteor shower and doesn't make sense to a degree. It's like Neo in the Matrix as all the pieces fling around and try to take you out. But no, that is a marvelous skill.
You know what would make no sense but be fun and stupid as fuck?
By all means, enlighten me.
Yeah, if the people who made Dungeons and Dragons brought out a new book and all the book is combining certain classes. So a barbarian and a rogue mixed. The fucking evasion and the barbarian rage. I know that's stupid as hell, but
well, no, think about it. If you take 2 levels of barbarian, you get danger sense, which gives you advantage on those saves. It's a little out of whack for your character to be that. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But,
this is definitely one of those moments where a little kid is just like, what if Goku and Vegeta fused and used Ultra Instinct? I know this sounds like one of those moments. I like the thought of all that power combined. But continue. My apologies.
No, that's all good. There's not really a significant amount, but evasion's honestly, I think evasion's the best skill out of the base class, just because of
Mm.
how useful it is.
It sounds pretty
But
damn good.
but right up behind it, in my opinion, is what we
Mm-hmm.
get at 11th level called reliable talent. You have refine your chosen skills until they approach perfection. Whenever you make a ability check that you are proficient in, you can treat any d20 roll of 9 or lower as a 10. Meaning that no matter what you roll, if you are proficient in that thing, you cannot critically fail. You will always have at least a 10. And this works with the things that are expertise. So if you crit fail as on a stealth check at level 11, you will then go straight up to a 10. Plus 5 for your dexterity. Plus whatever your proficiency bonus is. Maybe it's still 3, maybe it's 4, which is either a plus 6 or a plus 8. Giving you an additional 13, making your stealth check 23.
I don't even have to discuss this one. 10. Immediately 10.
And that's not the thing, because
What?
you can take... Now, I keep saying I'm not gonna, but take the feat for skills, which give you like 3, I think it's 3 or 4 additional skills. Take the skill expert, which gets you another skill and another expertise, and you're gonna have a majority of the skills at this point, and you are going
Mm-hmm.
to almost never roll below a 10.
The only
Unless...
downside the only downside I can see is it's a 11th level ability, but even with that, I can't see much wrong with it.
You could see it as a downside, but once you kind of get into this level of things, a lot of the times the stuff that you need are a little bit higher up there. Like even at some of the lower levels, even if you do roll really low and with your expertise bonuses, you might still be able to get them. Once you kind of get to this level, things are actually a little bit higher. Some things are in the 20s or a little bit lower, and needing that extra bump will regularly save you.
So if you use a character regularly and you keep him alive, this man, just about any character is going to be just like this skill, reliable.
You could even consider it like a luck thing. It'd be, say, for example, you're a rogue and you're picking a lock, and you click this tumbler the wrong way and it goes to smash your pick, and you're just able to twist your wrist just enough to save it and then pop that tumbler back into place. It's basically what reliable talent is. You saw the mistake and you saved it just barely.
Clutch moment.
Alright, we didn't need to talk too much about that because it was undeniably one amazing skill. Now, just if you imagine that being on any of your saving throws, if that worked on that, oh man, just imagine that one. But we don't have that. So, starting at level 14th, you gain Blind Sense, which lets you see... Well, it makes you aware of the location of any hidden or invisible creatures within 10 feet of you. It basically gives you 10 feet around you of invisible sight. It's not Tremor Sense, it's not True Sight, it's just, I see that there's a food right behind me. I should turn around and stab him. Which, I think, because you could still be, I think that, don't worry about it. No, but basically you're walking in somewhere and something tries to come around and stab you in the back of the neck, but you're like, aha, no you don't, and stop the blade right there. But, it's, there is a fighting style which gives you Blind Sense at a significantly earlier level. And don't get me... Go ahead.
No, go on.
I don't have a lot of good things to say on Blind Sense. It's a buff, but there are other ways I could get that, and you could definitely do something else with the thing. But I could also understand it being part of a rogue's repertoire as a more honed practice to their senses for natural kind of thievery.
That's how I felt. It's like, for me, it's just like, oh, if someone's within 10 feet of me, it's like, oh, I know you that bitch. But it's only 10 feet. It's at level 14. Like the skill is good. It's very helpful, but it's not perfect. Uh, 8 for me.
Yeah, you're gonna give it an 8. I'm actually gonna go a little weird for you. I'm gonna give it a 6. Like, I'm glad I have it, but there are other ways for
And
me to
there's just
get it.
other ways to get what that is.
Uh huh.
I understand that, but
It's good to have different virtue. Like, I could have taken maybe, I don't know. He might actually get another feat at 14.
plus you don't need to have an actual roll for that, do you?
No, I think it just happens because
It just,
because it says you're aware of locations of hidden and invisible. So by my thought there, you can't actually hide from it.
yeah, it's.
'Cause it
I like
specifically
I,
says
I like
aware.
that fact.
Yeah, because it specifically sees. Well, actually, if you are able to hear, if you're able to hear, so say it's a ghost that's hiding from you, I guess you're not going to be able to see that or be aware of it because it's technically it could technically not be making any noise. Like I said, if you had a person who was hiding in the shadows, you could probably. I mean, I guess you could maybe
Hear
hear
the
the breathing.
breathing.
Yeah, hear the breathing. Hmm.
Oh,
And if you were to be deafened, then you wouldn't be able to hear this, which is. I mean, yeah, I guess that works. It is a blind sense. You lost use your eyes, so you're using your ears better. But if you're deafened, you can't really use it that effectively. I guess if you get caught in a silence spell, this is not going to help you in the slightest.
ah. Hmm.
'Cause I was just thinking, because you could be fighting a warlock and maybe a mage combo, and they put you in both a sphere of silence and one of the darkness spell. I mean, you're blind and deaf, and that doesn't help you in the slightest.
All right, you
And that
talked me down into a 7.
I'm gonna go down and just yeah, all right. At level
Like
15, you have what's called Slippery Mind. Go ahead and finish your statement.
slippery mind. But no, like before, I wasn't specifically thinking, oh, you can use this at any time in the sense that I was thinking like, oh, if you're in the forest and something's hunting you down, you can use this at any point. But then you made me think about there are certain things that it won't have effect on. There's certain times where you couldn't use it.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Uh,
7. But
back to the Slippery
slippery
Mind.
mind.
It's not a grand thing, but it's a simple and helpful one. Even though I could see this at an earlier level, you gain proficiency in Wisdom saving throws, which helps you prevent being charmed. And not being charmed is nice, because then you don't have to worry about, seeing this vampire becoming your best friend and you not helping your friends against him as he then proceeds to suck the life out of them. And you, because, he can now bite you freely because you're charmed by him.
Like I know you said that you could see this at an early level. No, but
Because at level 4, you could take the Resilient thing and get proficiency in Wisdom saving throws. You'd also gain an additional point into Wisdom with that. But since I'm not really looking at that, because, yay, it's at 15. But at the same time, if I go look at a monk, I think at level 11, it's either level 11 or a little higher, but they get something similar, but it's significantly better. Because they get proficiency in all saving throws. Now, if I, because elves are the best choice in so many things, especially for a rogue, because they get even more free skills for that skill monkey stuff and that reliable talent. You're gonna have advantage in wisdom saving throws already, so mm,
I am.
I give it a 4.
I'm gonna give it a 6.
You're gonna
Like
give it a 6.
it's it's like way up there in level requirement,
Mm.
but
I'm just
it
thinking of like because if you got a caster with you, like a druid, I think they have a relatively low level spell which gives you advantage on wisdom stuff like this. There's magical items you can get. I think there's kinds of food and feasting things you could get. There's natural characters with racial things which gives you advantage on these, which is almost as good as proficiency in it. Not quite, but having the chance to have two different roles that are potentially better. I just there were sooner ways to get this, and they came with an additional benefit.
like I'm hearing what you're saying, but still, it's one of those things where like when you get up there in level 8, it's just something you don't have to worry about anymore.
Well, take a look at this. A
Like it's
paladin.
something you don't
Yeah.
it's something you don't have to think about.
Yeah, yeah, but so just take a look at this. A paladin, I believe it's at level 6, adds his charisma to his saving throws, which at level 6 is immediately better than the proficiency because he could have a 5 in his charisma. That's a +5, which he
Mm.
then gives to everyone around him. Now, yes, this would, if you combine Slippery Mind with that, yes, he would just get additional points to that. He'd have proficiency plus the paladin's thing, but at the end of the day, if you're looking at it at the thing, there are lower level abilities, which at the end of the day are just kind of better than getting just one proficiency. Like I said, the monk has something similar, but at the end of the day, they get proficiency in all of them for free.
I'm gonna stick with 6. Yeah, this is one of those skills where it's just like it's not amazing, but it's not bad either. I'm
I
sticking with
would give it.
6.
I would have given it a 6. I'd also given you proficiency in intelligence and wisdom because
Mm.
both of those are of the mind. That would I could have even given it maybe an 8 because at the same time, like even then, screw the wisdom. Make Slippery Mind an intelligence saving throw, something that a lot of characters could suffer on.
Ah, I mean, when people play this, there's people that are like, "Oh, I'm always gonna have decent intelligence," but then there's people that enjoy fighting and like what in what's the area of expertise for wisdom?
The area of expertise for that would be insight.
Yeah, like people are like, I'm good with my regular senses and like physical strength. There's a lot of people that go with that.
So it's animal handling, it's insight, it's medicine, it's perception, and survival. Which, yes, I could see that being useful in some things. I could see the survival be helping in something. I could see the perception definitely being helpful in something. I could see animal handling if you're trying to quiet down that barking dog. But remember this is a saving throw.
Saving. Mm.
It doesn't really affect those. But no,
Mm.
I get why you give it because again it's preventing you from being charmed. There might be a few other things that I can't really think of off the top of my head.
Like it's something. It's another thing where it's like it's not my favorite skill, but it's not something I'm going to be upset for having. Very like very like having an extra dagger on your side. I may not always use it. I'm happy it's there.
I
You get what
mean,
I'm trying to say.
I guess there are a few spells. You got dominate person where you take full command of a person's body, which is a wisdom save. You got you know blah blah blah. Eye bite,
Yes,
which
blah
can
blah
make your
blah.
target fall asleep, can panic him or sicken him and whatnot. So, I mean, there's a few nasty spells that you really wouldn't want to be affected as, especially as this character, as a rogue. But at the same time, you got 6 different ability score improvements. You could take just the resilient wisdom feat, but
I
that's
mean,
beside the point.
yeah, every class has its weaknesses, its downsides.
All right, so coming to level 18, we have what is called elusive. You are so evasive
Ooh.
that attackers rarely gain the upper hand against you. No attack roll can have advantage against you while you aren't incapacitated.
Oh, so as long as you're not restrained or like unconscious, you're
So the
under some
specifics
kind of.
for hello. The specifics for incapacitated, and it's just something that cannot take actions or reactions. So yeah, I guess if you're restrained or knocked unconscious or paralyzed or stunned. So,
So as
so
long as
which
you up
those
and ready to
those would
go.
usually just grant advantage against you. But so if someone was hiding from you and they try to shoot you, they wouldn't have advantage on that. If someone used True Strike, the cantrip on you, they wouldn't be able to use the advantage on it.
No, like this shit is like the what was he? Wasn't he like a Nightblade in the original ESO trailers? Like
Are you
the
talking about the Britain hero?
like I think so. The Ranger one,
I
the
think
one
the one
the
that
one that
got turned
eventually
into a
became an
zombie.
undead. Yeah,
Yeah. I
this
mean,
type of skill makes me think of him. You know how he's fucking jumping and spinning and launching arrows into people's faces while he's in midair. These kind of skills make me think of that. Eh,
so now the only problem with this skill, because I'm going to rank
mhm.
it low, is the only real time you're going to get the reduction from advantage is typically if someone's hiding from you or if you're getting flanked. That's kind of it. There are spells to stun you, there are monk abilities to stun you, there are ways to just do a lot of mean things to you that would kind of bypass this. I mean, sure, if you went prone and someone was trying to stab you on the ground with a sword, sure, I guess that saves you because then you wouldn't be able to get shot by that bow man who's trying to been shooting at you this whole time because he has disadvantage against you while you're prone. But just at the end of the day, for the most part, the things that are going to get you to the point where the people have advantage against you is mostly going to leave you incapacitated.
Hmm.
So, like the monk's stunning strike, you're gonna get hit, then you're gonna get stunned because you don't have proficiency in that constitution, which I think that's what that save is, and you're gonna get stunned there, and then everyone's gonna take turns having advantage against you because it doesn't matter how elusive you are if you can't move. If you got hold person, that's gonna lock your body up. If you get I mean, obviously, if you get petrified, you're basically done for anyway. You're not going to dodge that while stone. If you get knocked out and put to sleep, you're unfortunately they're gonna get advantage on you.
Uh, would would this ability affect reckless attack from a barbarian?
It would. They would not have any advantage, and it would be bad for the barbarian because then the rogue would constantly have advantage against that barbarian, and he would constantly get his sneak attack on that barbarian. But at the same time, that barbarian is going to resist half of whatever he gets hit with. And
So,
and considering the strength quotation mark of light farmers, even if the barbarian doesn't get that advantage, he still has a pretty good chance of hitting the rogue.
like I'm leaning in between like 5 and 6, but I think I'm going towards 5.
I am going to give it a 5. Just
Like,
because, like I said, for the most part, the things that are going to grant advantage against you at, specifically, let's be very specific, at 18th level, there are people who can cast 9th level spells. Right?
mm-hmm.
They're going to cast Power Word Kill on you, and you're not going to dodge that. It's just going to kill you. You're going to be hit with a Hold Person spell, which is gonna fuck your life up. You're gonna get stunned by the monk who comes over there and kicks you in the balls. That's going to kill you.
You're gonna end your days sometime.
It's gonna end your life and days. It just... I mean, if this was at a lower level, I could be happy with it. But 18th level, where everything you're fighting is kind of sitting pretty right next to God itself and the fucking Tarrasque.
Ooh, Tarrasque.
So
I'm king of monsters.
Yeah, you're going to be sitting next to those things at this level, so I cannot give it a good rating, but I can't give it a bad one. Because sure, you're gonna get ambushed by you're still gonna probably get ambushed by bandits every now and then. They're not using their sneak to get you. Sometimes you're going to be attacked by like a guy in front of you, and there's going to be a bunch of guys shooting you with arrows, and at the end of the turn you're just going to want to drop on the ground and give them that disadvantage and dodge on there and dodge the guy's attacks because he can't hit you because you're elusive.
I would love a campaign with like a bunch of new low-level characters, and then there's just a maxed out rogue, just like I sense something.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong, not a bad skill, just way too high in the skill tree, where things can really get to turning that around on you.
Yeah.
And so, but it's not a bad score. It's not a good score. It's right there, smack dab in the middle. And then at the pinnacle of rogues, you have what is the Stroke of Luck, which you only get on a short or a long rest. You get it once, and that short rest is going to be nice. If you attack something and you miss that target within range, you can automatically turn that miss into a hit. So
sounds like my kind of skill.
You're fighting the final boss in the last bit of the area, and you just missed by like 1 point, but suddenly a stroke of luck as a giant boulder comes out of nowhere and turns him into a red paste. Because, you threw that dagger at him, and it missed him, but it chopped down a wire that was somewhere behind him that was holding up a support beam that then caused an entire area to collapse, and he just decided to be standing underneath it in the worst possible place. Alternatively, if you fail a ability checks, not a saving throw, you can treat the D20 roll as a natural 20. Plus your modifiers. So at this level, you're going to have +6 in your proficiency. That's sleight of hand to try and steal that whatever you had from that one guy. That is going to be 20 plus 5 plus 12 for a total of 37. And then if you look at certain things at level 20, you can do a lot of extra stuff and get increasing skill points. You can get, like, after a certain number of experience points, you can then get another feat or another ability score improvement, which can let you raise your stats above 20 to a max of 30. So it could be higher depending on how experienced your guy is.
Mm-hmm.
But, at any point, guaranteeing that you get that hit on that man or guaranteeing a natural 20 on a check that is important, that's a 10 out of 10. High level, yes. Likely to be used by a lot of people, no. But you can't ignore the absolute list that this is. Oh no, I rolled 2 natural ones in my advantage attack. Unfortunately, I have a stroke of luck.
Like, I love everything about this skill. I love everything except the level requirement.
I understand what you're saying there, but the sheer strength of the skill means it has to be at this level. Because if you got that at level, even if you even got that at level 10, that would be wildly overpowered. Especially since you get it back on a short or long rest.
Like if I could give it a 9.99, I would. But
Boy, you know I'm not gonna let that happen.
yeah, I know, I know you because you bitch. Yeah, but I want to be critical and give it a 9, but I love it so much, so I'm gonna give it a 10.
Okay. If you had given that a
I,
9, I would have ended the video and there would have been some sort of thing with me murdering you for an hour.
but no, stroke of luck. That is just that is something I love in campaigns, especially especially in real life when I get a natural 20 on the most bullshit roll.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is just an in-game version of that, and it makes me happy.
Alright, so there
So,
was only one optional class feature for the rogue. Now, was there
right?
something else you wanted to say before I go into this?
No, no, I was gonna say, wait, is there anything left?
Okay. Well, yeah, there is the steady aim feature for the optional class rules, which you gain at level 3, which is another great benefit for your sneak attack, even though it does come
Right.
with a bit of a hindrance. As a bonus action, you give yourself advantage on the next attack roll on the current turn. You can use this bonus action only if you haven't moved. And after you use this bonus action, your speed is 0 until the end of the current turn. So, just imagine the rogue, he's looking at his enemy, he's charging at him, he takes a knee, he lines up the shite, and then shoots him right square between the eyes. He gets a sneak attack at level 3, which you at level 3 you get 2d6 in your sneak attacks. And it's an automatic way to gain advantage. And I guess the thing you look at this is it doesn't say it has to be with a ranged weapon. So I could be right next to you with a dagger, and I'd be like, wait a minute, you have a weak spot right there. It's a giant eyeball that looks like one of those things out of Legend of Zelda. Stab.
I mean,
So it's a good skill, but I'm gonna give it a 5.
for, for me, it's like even when I play a rogue, even when I play a rogue, I when I get into a fight, I tend to stay in the fight. So I'm gonna give this an 8 just because of my play style.
Now, I could probably see using this like that at a higher level, but just remember, you get a D8
At 3,
hit dice.
no,
Yeah, at
no,
3, at
no.
third level. I mean, yes, as you get level up, it becomes a little more fanatic. And if you're in a 1v1 situation naturally, don't get me wrong, that's like the barbarian's reckless, just without the disadvantage. My only complaint, the only reason I'm giving it a 5, that middle thing, is because it takes away your speed, and you cannot move before you use it. You basically lose all your movement to gain advantage.
Yeah, I at
So,
level 3. At level 3, I know I have to be cautious, and this thing at level 3, this thing just makes me. I'm tempted to do some stupid bullshit. It just tempts me.
just
But
imagine
it's.
you're fighting the bandit captain, and you think he's about to die, so you decide to take advantage. And let's just say you roll complete ass. Well, now you can't get away because that used your bonus action. You can't use your cunning action to dash, disengage, or that other thing. You used your attack with advantage to try and smack him, and now you can't take the dodge action. And now
So.
suddenly the bandit captain has all his henchmen pop around the corner and they see you standing there. And your attempt at a coup to take over his group of people is now just out the fucking door. You're stuck in the middle. You can't go nowhere. Now you're going to be beaten to death by 17 different bandits as they come to the aid of their captain.
Okay, so. For,
But
like.
But say you
Go
are
on.
on a high precipice that where they can't really easily get to you, and you're looking down at a slave caravan, and you see the head slave master. He's dragging people along, and you take a moment. You look down there, you flip him off, and you shoot him right in the face. Or take the more different route. You take a moment and you look. You look at all the little connections on those slave carts, and you just start taking those out. And now they can't move the carts because they're damaged. You come back later at the night where they can't, because they couldn't move, they had to take time to repair, and you do different actions. Using the cover of night and your dark vision, you do things and snuff things out. Maybe you were an arcane trickster and you took a... I think arcane tricksters have it. They might not have cantrips, so maybe... Well, I mean, they might. I think they get one cantrip plus the one hand. So they could have prestidigitation. They're knocking out all the torches in the guards' hands, and now they can't see because it's dark. There you go. You got a lot of advantage without losing your movement. But that's me beating it into the ground. Like, it's still a good ability. That's why I gave it 5, but it's just the risk of not being able to move at all to use it.
If you are a ranged rogue, this would
This
be
is an
amazing.
ability. That's
Like,
why I have to say 5. Because, yes, if you're a ranged guy, you are in heaven at that moment.
Like,
if you're a melee guy, ooh, risk.
Like, Senpai, you know me. I like to be that kind of person that's like, if it was in this situation or that situation, you know I'm that kind of person, but all around, I'm going to give it a 5. There's just so many... There's just so many situations. It's... Yeah. It irks me to not be like, oh, what if this happened? I'm not going to do it. It hurts me, but I'm not going to do it.
So, looking back on all our skills undead, what are your top 3 skills that this rogue gets?
Oh, evasion is number 1 by far.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 would probably be reliable talent. And number 3, go to the bottom. Like, stroke of luck. I think stroke of luck and reliable talent are like tied for second, but evasion
just because
is
evasion, like even mine, evasion's number 1. You're saying reliable talent and stroke of luck are tied for 2, but I'd go with reliable talent as your second and stroke of luck as your third, just because of how high you have to be to get stroke of luck.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I agree with you on evasion and reliable talent. Evasion my 1, reliable talent my 2.
I'm putting them in my top 3 just because they're my favorites.
Now, a lot of people would probably put sneak attack in there as well, but I'm going to put cunning action as my 3rd. Just the ability, it gives you a lot of more options to use that bonus action for like moving and getting out of this and just hiding for your advantage on your sneak attack for the next round. So that's my 3rd.
On your comment of like most people would go with sneak attack, a lot of people that do play rogue try to be sneaky. They try to be that assassin build in Skyrim.
People want that. They want their sneak attack every attack.
Basically. But the rogue has a lot more potential other than a fucking assassin. Like, rogue, you have this wide range of options and particular skill trees you can go through. And by skill trees, I mean
because you get
my
you
wording
get 4
isn't great today.
For your skills, you get your 4 for being a rogue naturally. Then you get several expertises. You get, depending on your race, you get extra skills. Depending on your background, you get extra skills. Well, you naturally get extra skills as your background. There are feats for extra skills. You could have a majority of the skills. In fact, you could have every single skill that is related to a rogue in any shape or form, and combined with reliable talent, this skill monkey would just be marvelous.
Rogue is it's a very go-to for someone that wants to try and be a carrier of the team in more than one way. Like barbarian, he can be the literal carrier. A fucking a wizard or a sorcerer is gonna be no, sorcerer. Sorry, sorcerer is definitely gonna be a damage carrier when he gets up there and gets some decent spells. But rogue, he's gonna go around the group being like, oh, you need help with that. Let me assist you. Now, your thoughts? Do you got any more thoughts on the rogue?
What can I say? A rogue's one of my favorite style of combats. They're one of my favorite choices because at the end of the day, they can kind of be a solo player. If something happens and they get stuck in the middle of basically the biggest ship, they have enough skills and abilities in their repertoire to get out of a lot of bad situations. And they also have enough skills that they can turn around and deal out some of the most disgusting damage in a single hit. I'll get it, it's a single hit. I mean, you could be dual wielding, you could have crossbow expert, you can have a couple ways which you get an extra attack, which would waste your bonus action for some things.
Rogue is a great character for you because you really enjoy being independent. You enjoy having a shit ton of choices for your character.
Yeah.
You enjoy being good with what you're good at. You love being good with that.
Either way, that's going to end our video. And